you don't love me, I just make you rich.
What's up? You're watching the Electric Runway YouTube channel, where we cover the intersection of fashion and technology. For those of you who don't know me, I'm your host, Amanda Cosco. I am a journalist and blogger focused on the intersection of fashion and tech. And for those of you who do know me, welcome back. It's so great to see you here. So if you've been tuning in, we've been sharing out videos from an event that Electric Runway did earlier this year called InStore. In case you missed it, InStore was an immersive event on the future of retail that took place at the Design Exchange here in Toronto, my home city. We rounded up some of the industry's top shakers working where fashion and technology meet, with a specific focus on how emerging technologies are impacting the future of how we buy and sell. And so today I'm sharing with you my conversation with Andrew Wyatt of CALA. CALA fits designer clothing to your body using iPhone photos. This California-based company has big plans for challenging the way the fashion industry has done things for so long. Here to tell you more is Andrew Wyatt of CALA. Please join me in welcoming Andrew Wyatt to the stage.
I just make you rich. I am waiting.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for being here. So Andrew, you're from CALA. You're also from California. What
Right.
brings you to Toronto? How do you fit into this conversation of the future of retail?
So Toronto's actually really important to the story of CALA. So about just over a year ago, I was actually here with one of my really good friends and an investor in CALA, brainstorming on this idea of this new e-commerce platform that we could potentially be building. And so one of the things that we're looking at is this sort of tectonic shift that's happening in both fashion but in retail as well. And so we thought that we could sort of come up with this new solutions where we tap into our experience in operations and technology to make really a sort of a transformative platform that really helps designers compete with the likes of Amazon and Zara.
Okay, so let's start with the fact that you have an app, but you're not your app, right? You're so much more than that. The app is really a way to get into the brand, but it's not everything that you provide. Maybe you could talk about the difference?
Yep, absolutely. So when we say all-in-one platform, what we're really talking about is sort of enabling designers to outsource whatever piece of their supply chain or their value chain that they aren't necessarily the best at. So what that looks like is, you could send me a sketch, of this dress with this fabric selection, and our team will actually bring it to life. But then we can also handle production, which is a huge bandwidth sucking activity for a lot of designers. We can provide you an e-commerce site, and then we can also provide you, a collection page in our app. The whole thinking behind the app is actually, it's the mean for the outcome of actually doing a custom fit garment. And so through our app, we actually enable you to get fitted at home in about a minute in the comfort of your house. We then use that fit data to work with the patterns that designers have created with us, so that we can, in a very short time frame, provide you a custom fit garment.
Yeah, and so that is this is again the problem of fit that we keep seeing coming up in retail tech and fashion tech conversations. It's a tough one. And so your consumer way into CALA is through the app, because if I want to shop your brand, I'm going to have a real good understanding of my own sizing, and you're going to be able to provide precise measurements for me or precise recommendations for me. But if I'm a designer, you have this whole kind of suite of services that you offer, and I can kind of outsource everything from my website to production and shipping.
Yep, absolutely.
Everything.
And so, what we my co-founder and I, what we found is we always are happiest and perform best when we're focusing on what we're really good at. And so in helping a lot of e-commerce and fashion companies in the past with operations and sort of technology transformation, we saw that all of these amazing creative people are spending so much of their time on things that are not necessarily core, whether that's shipping, logistics, being on FedEx's website, editing their Shopify template. We felt like there's an opportunity to sort of offload that so that they can put all their bandwidth into what they're great at, which is creating amazing products.
Yeah, and what's the response that you're getting? Who have you worked with, and how's it working out?
it's been incredibly positive so far. And kind of the reason we wanted to focus on the designers is that our kind of approach is if we can provide value for designers and sort of uncork designers' ability to not only compete with the likes of Zara, but to release products that are full of their entire sort of creative ability, we can sort of allow them to be their best.
And you're doing that because you're accumulating networks, or you're building networks in Los Angeles. Can you talk about how that infrastructure works? Because you kind of have this model of, we want to be the Zara for your everyday designer, which sounds awesome, but how do you actually do that without, while still having fair wages and all of that?
Absolutely. So it's definitely a new operating model, and so if we went to a manufacturer in Asia and said, hey, we want to do a unique pattern per order, they did look at us like we were absolutely crazy. And so what we wanted to do is basically set up this network of contract manufacturers that are sort of believe in this future that we fully believe in, which is connecting designers directly with their customers through really high quality garments. And so we've been able to build out this network. We now have over 5 different contract manufacturers within LA, but now moving to the Southeast in the US as well. And so that enables us to go to a designer and really be able to provide them this sort of like full end-to-end solution, which is what we're getting a really great response with.
And it's customized too, so you're saying like if you need someone who does leather really well, you have that contact in your network, and so you're able to basically hook up designers with the best.
Exactly. We kind of consider it to be like network enabling. So we try to rather trying to push everything through the same process, through the same contract manufacturer, try and go with that same theme of getting it to the person who does it best.
Yeah, and so this is like very smart. It's a very operational perspective and approach to the fashion industry, and that really goes back to the company that you did before this, before you were in the fashion industry. Talk about Ship.
Yeah, so Ship is a first mile logistics solution where you can just take a photo of something that you need to ship, and in major markets in the US, they'll come and pick up the item, professionally pack it for you, send it anywhere in the world, find you the lowest cost shipping method, whether that's FedEx or Canada Post or what have you. Ironically, both of the founders are Canadian, but it's still not here in Toronto yet.
They've been outsourced.
Yeah, exactly. And so what was interesting about the experience at Ship is that now you can connect your Shopify store, you can connect your eBay store, pull your orders in, and then with one click, your logistics has been outsourced. And so through that experience, we saw lots of these e-commerce and fashion companies, and I had one specific experience with this amazing footwear designer, and she's like, Andrew, thank you so much for your help. I wanted to be a designer my entire life. Now I have my own brand, and I only spend about 20% of my time actually designing. She's like, I wish I could just design. And so I think that's what kind of catalyzed, me scooping up my co-founder Dylan and saying, what, I think we can take what we're doing with Ship, but even go a step further within the fashion industry.
And really solve a lot of problems for a lot of designers. How many designers in the house?
Don't be shy.
Yeah, so I could see you working with a lot. Do you work with any Canadian companies right now?
Not yet, but we're always interested.
Yeah, Canadian designers. So in empowering designers to compete with the likes of Zara, you're kind of, like you're saying, re-engineering the whole retail process and envisioning this new future of retail. What does that look like? Is that, instead of everyone having the same thing because they bought it at H&M, is that, allowing these smaller designers to thrive? Like, what's the mission?
Absolutely. I think it's about democratizing being able to bring a high quality product to your audience. So it could be an 18-year-old who's doing really cool graphic shirts that has a huge following on Instagram. Why shouldn't that person be able to launch an incredibly successful collection? Sorry. And similarly, for brands that want to create a new experience for their existing customers, why not offer your most popular garments in a custom fit fashion without necessarily needing to completely uproot your entire existing supply chain?
And so what's next?
Lots and lots of exciting designers. We want to basically empower the most exciting and impressive designers that we can, and from an ad perspective, the more, similar to ModiFace, the more and more data that we have from people doing the fitting process, the better and the smarter it gets. What's also really interesting is that the technology that we use in our physical 3D scanner, which we actually had out here, Apple purchased that company 2 years ago, and there's a really exciting prospect of that actually being embedded in iPhones, which I think is going to sort of uncork a whole new world of sort of like online, offline experiences.
Very interesting. Well, thank you so much for coming all the way to share your experience with us. We really appreciate you being here, and we hope to have you back.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.